Hi, this is Tammy Ogren. Today we're going to talk about competition in a variety of ways. I'm going to use some examples as we talk about competition from my own businesses and experiences. So, first of all, let's just define what we're talking about when we talk about competition in a broad sense. That may seem like a really simple explanation, concept to understand, but I want you to challenge you to think about it in a way that's a little bit deeper, I guess. So our organization's strategy has to include thoughts about our competition. I've worked with lots of entrepreneurs, lots of mid to small size business owners over my career, and I firmly believe that there can be this incorrect way of thinking about competition, which is I'm going to stay focused on me and not worry about the noise in the marketplace and what other people are doing because I need to be true to myself. There's also people who are so focused on their competition that that becomes more persuasive in their mindset than their own strategies. I believe there's a balance of both and that both are important in different ways. So, first of all, competitors engage in rivalry. That makes sense as you think about that. I assume that makes sense. And in that rivalry, the reason we should pay attention to what our competitors are doing is obviously so we have a more advantageous market position. We want more customers than our competition have. In most industries, there's enough customer base to go around. I actually do believe that, and competition makes us better. It makes us pause, question, and makes us stronger than when we're solely in the market, kind of alone. And we'll talk about that in a future discussion around first initiators into the market and how they behave different than the next person that comes into that market. And then obviously the later entrances of competition. But the way that we respond to competition can vary. And that's called competitive behavior. Just think of it in the way that we may initiate actions against a competitor. I decide I'm going to put a sale on in order to get more people in this week because I have an overabundance of a certain product that I need to get rid of. For example, that sale price can be something that actually impacts my competitors. And we see that all the time on Amazon when you see Prime specials or you see people with a discount today. Those are all competitive actions. Competitive responses is when there's I do something in response to what my competitor's doing. So that might make really simple sense, but let's think about it in that example. My competitor puts a sale on because they have an overabundance of a product. And now I see a decrease in my sales this week. What am I going to do about that? Nothing can be an appropriate response. I can let it ride and see. I can also decide I'm going to do a 2-for-1 sale, or I'm going to do some other special coupon or something that is in response to that competitive action. And then we have non-market strategies. And those are really things, if we think about the idea of how do we respond in the marketplace, just in our own strategic plan. So it is smart to know who your competitors are and to have strategies about how I'm going to compete in this space. I was taught as a young leader to scan the environment. We talked about that when we talk about external environments. And I was taught to be aware, to do research, to know what other people are doing. Recently, I've been working with a political campaign, and one of my questions frequently is, if you put that out, what might your competitor do in response to that? Not because it should drive our decision, because it helps us be aware. Is this an action that's going to support us, help us? Is it an action that might trigger another reaction and response from someone else? And let's be aware and be ready for that, as aware and ready as we can. All of that competitive landscape are really competitive dynamics, the actions and the responses that we all take in the marketplace. Hopefully that makes sense. Here's a couple of examples from my own personal life. Spicy Guys is a seasoned pretzel that I started. My kids ate it as young children. They went off to college and talked me into selling it. And I was a wholesaler and sold online direct to retailers for a while. I built that business and primarily started in gas stations and bars and grocery stores. And I didn't know what I didn't know about this industry. I didn't go research in depth the food industry before I started. I used instinct, gut, and I asked lots of questions and had people who were advisors who knew the industry. But when we went into convenience stores, my partner, my original partner, always thought about competitors as other flavored pretzels. And so I want to talk for a minute about what we're talking about as we talk about competitors, because that's a direct competitor. They're making something similar. And if you go into the store and you want flavored pretzels, then that's a very direct competitor. You're going to choose one of those options. But for my own mindset, based on my background, I looked at competitors as everything in that convenience store. When you walked into the store because you're hungry, or you need to use the restroom, or you just want a soda, there is either an intent to buy a snack or a motivation to buy a snack based on the setup of the store. I looked at everything in that store as competition to someone buying a candy bar or Twizzlers or potato chips or other pretzels instead of buying my pretzels. So I always look at competition as a much more broader landscape. I worked for a company called NRCCUA for almost 30 years. We helped students identify career and college interests, and then we helped colleges match those interests to the students. And what happened one year, so what you see in front of you on the left, the post-secondary planning survey was ours. That was a form we had used for many, many years. And I'm going to move that out of the way, see if that's better. And the logo, the top logo was our logo. We'd had that since 1972. And a copycat competitor shows up in the marketplace overnight. That wasn't overnight to them. They kept it very, very quiet. Someone started a company called ERCA. You can see their logo there, very similar. And you can see the survey on the right, which was the survey they sent out to schools. The letter was very similar that we asked teachers to distribute to students. The survey questions were almost identical with some variances. And it was intended to be a copycat competitor. The response that someone had, so that was a competitive action that they took. And then we had a decision to make. And what was our competitive action going to be? I'll talk about that more as we go through the future videos here. But just as an example, competitors come in service organizations as well as product and goods manufacturing or sales. So to end this first video, I just want you to remember that when a customer pays $1 to meet the same need as you provide to them, then they are working with your competitor. So think about that for a minute. If my potential customer is going to spend $1 on anyone else to meet the same need that I can provide, then they're a competitor. And we will come back and talk about more about strategic and tactical actions and responses next.